very lucky that our next speaker is here today, Almog, who is a self-confessed geek. He has done some very distinguished work for some very well-known companies, including Intel and Nokia. And he'll be talking today about creative use of leaderboards. If you were here earlier, you know I've been giving away small trivia prizes based on simple questions. So I have a quick question here. The first game that had a leaderboard on, that was a video game, was Space Invaders. Does anybody know what year Space Invaders was released? You can shout out and I'll tell you higher or lower until we get the correct answer. 79, very close. 78, we have a winner. Almog.
Hello everyone, can you guys hear me? So first, thank you for coming out. I know it's late and everyone's a little hungover from yesterday. So we're going to talk about beyond the expected, getting creative with leaderboard scoring and achievements. Let's move slide. So like you said, I'm an interactive developer and designer. I have a small studio in Tel Aviv, Israel, from Israel. And I work with a number of clients and agencies worldwide, including Nokia. We did a big Facebook game for them. Intel, Fraction Media, which is a big advertising agency in the US, and local companies as well. Beyond work, I have a startup, a bootstrap startup called Scoroid, which it goes around, it's basically a platform for game developers. It handles leaderboard scoring. And I'm an Adobe community professional and a user group manager. So I'm very active in the community, very active in the Adobe community. So if you have any questions about Flash, Mohill, Air, come up and say hi. I'm glad to tell you what I know about it. I also run a small event called Flash Israel. It's a community event in Israel. And I speak in a number of local events and also some events abroad. Let's move on. So a quick session outline. We'll talk about leaderboards, benefits, importance, getting creative with them, achievements, scoring, in-game notifications, player saves, geolocation, and cross-platform and content awareness and how that relates to leaderboards, and game monetization within leaderboards. So talk about monetizing your leaderboards, not necessarily just your game. All right. We're on the right slide? 4. Okay. So what is a leaderboard? A leaderboard is basically a list. If you break it down, it's just a list. It talks about quantity over quality. Leaderboards are awards and show reward value. We use leaderboards to show currency and value. In the simplest terms, such a leaderboard is. They help us find stuff as well. Leaderboards help us find stuff, newbies, top list, and who you should be when you're playing. Leaderboards are about leaders, and they influence and content influencers. This is very important. If you look at some of the AAA titles like Call of Duty, Gears of War, and the Xbox Live games, you know, a lot of the multiplayer is based on leaderboards. You're playing to get that golden gun. You're playing to get, you know, the next ranking. So the whole gameplay there is pretty much based on that. So leaderboards are everywhere. I just took these slides here. Hold on. There we go. Are everywhere. So this is the 2011 Nobel Peace Prize. It's just basically a list on their website. It's a leaderboard. You know who got the Nobel Peace Prize. Your Twitter homepage has how many tweets you have, people that are following you, followers. It's a leaderboard. Simple list. Even LinkedIn, the recommendations over connections is a leaderboard. And like Twitter, you know, if you follow someone that has more followers, or you want to market something, you want to follow people that have more followers or that are lead in their content. So every game has a scoring system, and therefore it can have a leaderboard. You know, like you said, Space Invaders, even the board games, the old school board games, when you play those as a kid, the leaderboards are right there in live. Who, at the end of the game, who won first, second, and third place? Who had the most money in Monopoly? So how important are leaderboards? Because when we think about it, you know, most of the time you're going to spend as developers or creatives, you're going to spend a lot of time working on your game, on your gameplay, on your art, on your concept, and then basically you're done with your game and you'll publish your game. You won't think about doing leaderboards because you don't have the time for it. The thing is, leaderboards are very important because they add a lot of value. They drive retention of gamers, and this can drive retention up to 30%. So just by adding a leaderboard, you can drive your game's retention by 30%. It makes game players try harder. So your players that are playing your game, they're going to try harder to get different scores. So it's really a motivational tool as well. And at the end of the day, leaderboards have become a standard. Players expect leaderboards. This just started, with social games as well. One of the things with social games is that you would play a social game and then you would brag about how many points you got with your friends. In a gaming environment, the needs of gamers are made by badges, trophy rooms, and leaderboards. That's just the way gamers move on into the game. The presence of leaderboards changes the value, the very nature of your game, increasing its value and making it more unique than others. So just by adding a simple leaderboard, you get extra value in your game. Oh, that's the right slide. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's talk about, we talked about the benefits, the importance, and the creativity. So let's talk about what's some good best practices and what you should be doing in leaderboards. So first thing, custom design. If you're going to put a leaderboard in there, take that extra time to develop the UI that fits with your game. Having a leaderboard that's outside your game, just like you stick it on there, it doesn't fit with the design or the concept. It doesn't feel part of the game. It feels outside of the game. That's bad for the players. It's bad for your game and for your brand. Think about creating a friends list. So you can do leaderboards that are social in nature by just having a friends list, doing a simple connect to Facebook, and pulling a user's friends and showing them which friends are playing your game. So you don't have to do a full social game. If your game even is very like a very simple flash game, just by doing a friends list, it adds that extra value in the leaderboard and kind of creates a social presence within the leaderboard and in your game. Show infographics, use charts, text, and custom images. Show scores, best scores, and rank. Try to make your leaderboard unique and easy to understand. So if you do a really great concept about your leaderboard, you think something beyond the expected, you go beyond what players are expecting. You have a brand new concept, and then it's not readable. Users don't understand it. That defeats the whole point. So it has to be very, very understandable. And then use geolocation or show maps or where players are playing from. And I will talk about this again at one of the last slides because geolocation is kind of new right now. Use filter and options. Let your players kind of filter out different options to segment the data. You can have them search top scores or by week or by date. The more options you give them, the longer time they'll spend on your leaderboard and the longer time they'll go through scores and look for challenges. If your game is cross-platform, use it to show players based on the platform they are playing on. And I'll talk about this at the end as well, how you can use different platforms to promote your game. All right, so here's some examples of leaderboards. So some of these are, my thoughts are that they're okay, they're good to use them, but in general, they're not the best thing to do. So OpenFint has a built-in leaderboards for mobile, Android, and iOS. Really, they have a big game network. I think everyone knows it. My only problem with it is that most of the game developers don't really do any custom UI. You can do custom UI with OpenFint, but most of the game developers just throw in the standard UI and move on. And the problem with that is that there's a couple of problems. One, it doesn't fit within the game. Two, if you look at the avatars on the left, a lot of times there's no avatar images. That kind of takes a little value away from you. Multimedia leaderboard is the same thing. Even though multimedia has geolocation, they show maps, which is really, really cool. Game Center for iOS, personally, I think it's one of the worst things you can probably do. It does help you monetize your game. It does help you make your game more social, but it takes players away from your game. And one thing nice about Game Center is it does have a friends list. So they have a very simple friends list, and that again creates that social value. All right, so here are some examples of custom leaderboards. So the one on the right is by John from Bowler Hat Games, a really popular Flash indie game developer. And basically, he did a custom design that fits with his game Crossfire. And as you can see on the bottom, it has today. So she's showing the players today's top scores all time, and he's also showing the current player his scores, a list of his own scores. Because sometimes you won't make it to the top scores. You might be place 30 or place 25. On the bottom, again, is another example of a custom design that fits within the leaderboards. And there's also a best score tab on the top where you can see the best scores of the game. And on the left is an open source game that was done with Far 3D that I developed. And if you guys want the files, they're on my website. It's a Mohill game, and I basically just added an infograph. I thought it would be kind of cool to see over time how the game grows. So every couple weeks I take a screenshot, and then I'm going to create a big montage of how the game grows. And this is when I first did the game. When I launched it, I had 10 players with 19 scores, and the best score was 15,550. which is, you know, a brand new game, went out a couple of days, and then next week I'll probably do another screenshot. But think about doing infographics in your game, kind of see how many players there are, how it's growing, and show your users that stats. There's no reason why they can't see it. So that's pretty much it in very quick terms, because we only have 25 minutes about leaderboards. Talk about game achievements. Achievements are a little bit different than leaderboards. They require a lot more development, a lot more thought. If you're going to do achievements in your games, you need to sit down with your team and discuss what kind of achievements you want to do, and it takes more time. Achievements are a virtual or physical representation of having accomplished something. Achievements can be easy, difficulty, surprising, funny, accomplished alone or as a group. I think everyone here is a game developer, so they kind of understand and they play games, they know what achievements are. Achievements are a really great way for players to brag about what they've done, especially to their friends. Like, yeah, I just got the golden gun on Xbox or on Call of Duty, or I just got this achievement. They add character into your game. So achievements can help add character to your game. They add an extra level. And that's why with achievements, you need to basically sit down and think what you're going to be doing. You can't just get 1,000 points for playing the game. Achievements done right can get players to openly compete with friends over achievements and spend hours playing a game, and in the best case, max out a game. And what I mean by max out a game, in simple terms, a player will play the game for the gameplay. Even if it's a casual game, he'll play for a couple hours because it's casual to go over time. And then at some point, if your game has achievements, he might come back just to go through the achievements. They're extra missions. And again, that helps drive retention to your game. So what not to do with game achievements? So achievements that impose an arbitrary restriction on players and limit their ability to explore and discover your game is wrong. You don't want to limit your players. You want to let your players have experience your game the way it should be experienced, and don't create achievements that will limit your gameplay. So here's an example of a doled out achievement. So Oblivion, it's a PC game, or I think it's an Xbox game, I'm not even sure. You get 1,000 points of game score, just required to hang just hang long enough. So all you have to do is basically play the game for like 20 minutes and you get 1,000 points. This is like just a waste of potential. I mean, the player's already playing your game. He's playing the game, going through the levels, and just giving him points for nothing, and he didn't do anything to achieve it. So the value that he just got just dropped. He's like, oh, he's got 1,000 for doing nothing. And at the end of the day, you lost your value, and you didn't do anything that was kind of made your game more unique. So a good example is Orange Box, PC game. So Orange Box did this thing called 99 Achievements. It was spread across Half-Life 2, its first 2 episodes, Portal, Team Fortress. So basically, you would get achievements by playing each one of these games. So they went to extra level. They said, we have like 5 or 10 games. And some of these games are very big. Half-Life is a very big game. Half-Life 2 was also very big. Portal, as you guys know, was very big. And Team Fortress. And they basically said you get a certain achievement by playing each one of these games and doing something for each one of these games. And that created a very, very unique value. And it also kind of got players that never bought maybe Fortress or never bought Half-Life to look at it and see what these games are. So that's basically you promoting your games inside another game. So I keep forgetting the slides. So what to do? So present players with clear goals. Make it very simple and understandable. Show players what they've accomplished, let them know what they've done. Use badges, icons, and custom images that fit with your game. Give players overexposure for the challenge, for the chance to take on lucrative challenges. So basically, if you're gonna do crazy achievements, do achievements that they have to do something very hard. They have to really try it over and over and over to get it. Connect achievements across games. Again, if your game is cross-platform, use that to your advantage. Create specific achievements per platform or achievements connected to other platforms. So if your game is on iOS or an iPad and iPhone, for example, a lot of game developers will do, mobile game developers will do an iPhone game and then we'll do the iPad game. So you have 2 different games. You have an HD iPad game. Go ahead and create an achievement to get your players to buy that HD game. Or if they buy the tablet game, create an achievement to get them to buy the iPhone game. So this is Jetpack, the developers from Fruit Ninja, really great game. And so this is like really good UI. It's custom, and they have OpenFlight and Game Center all implemented. So they went ahead and did custom achievements. And as you can see, you have this little question mark for the badge, so you don't know what you're going to get yet. And they tell you a title, what what you have to do, how many points you're going to get, and they give you the mission, progress, get 50,000 coins. And then once you get that, you get the badge, and you get the points. Another important thing is, when it comes to achievements in UI, let your players know what's going on. So they did a really good job. As basically, if you look on the bar on the left, that little pink bar, it starts off empty and it fills up as you progress. And they also give you a little text saying progress, 41,000 coins out of 50. It's very, very bad UI to tell a user to do something and don't tell him what's going on. He has no idea. It's very annoying. So I'm not going to spend too much time on scores. We kind of just went through achievements really fast. So every game has a score. I mean, it's just part of games. They have scores. It could be money, points, time, XP, or anything you can think of. When you're doing scores, go beyond the expected. Basically, don't say you have 1,000 coins. If your game is specific, has a specific brand, a specific title to it, use that to your advantage. Make sure, just saying, okay, you have 1,000 coins, it's nice, so this is my points. But if, let's say, my game, the coins are called, monkey coins, or there's a different, brand the money, brand the coins, brand the value of your game, and make it fit within your leaderboard and scores. Combine different values, XP plus time, or XP plus money, or XP plus coins, energy plus time. By combining different values, you get different unique numbers, and that makes it also unique for the player. Because basically, if you don't combine values, what's going to happen is you're going to have players that have the same scores. So it's very possible a player will have 1,000 points, 2,000 points, and the next player will have 2,000 points, and that's the way it's going to look like that. By combining different values, the more you combine, the more the score is going to be unique. You have like 2,100, 2,025, 2,000.5, stuff like that. So the leaderboard, again, going back to the leaderboard, that makes the leaderboard a little bit better. Use scores based on difficulty. So if you have difficulty level in your game, make sure the scores are also based on that. Think of new ways to show your game scores or points. Give your players lots of feedback, but make them earn it. So give them lots of scores, but make them earn it. Make them play your game. So in-game notifications. So when I'm talking about in-game notifications, a couple things. It's not push notifications for like iOS or Android. These are notifications inside your game. A player opens your game and he sees the notification. It's basically a news feed. Just like the Facebook news feed or anything, or a status feed, that's what it is. Look, the gaming market is becoming more competitive. The more you do to make your game stand out, the better chances you have. Connecting with your players is as important as ever. You need to connect to your players. You need to let your players know who you are and about your game. So one of the things that caught my attention was I was reading a really good blog post by a guy named Sash. He's an indie game developer. He has a number of games out there. While reading his blog post, this is what I came up. And I'm just going to read off what he wrote. One of the key points that caught my attention was recognition and respect. The success of your previous works are presumed in your latest games. People come to respect your brand and the games that you make. So a perfect example is Fruit Ninja. So Fruit Ninja came out, great game. Everyone downloaded, really good stats, really good numbers. And then they just came out with Jetpack not too long ago. And players that bought Fruit Ninja, oh, okay, wait, this is a new game. Totally different game, totally different gameplay. Went and bought Jetpack. And Jetpack grew to be top game within a couple of weeks, or I think a couple of days, to be honest. So again, they're creating a brand, and they're letting their players know we have a new game. This is the games that we've done before. And pretty much branding the company or the developer. So what you can do with in-game notifications. So, well, you can update your players about new features. And when I mean update your players about new features is specific features or like new achievements, not like update, like bug fixes. When you download the iPhone game, before you download an update, it tells you what's new. So that's good. But when you're going to use like in-game notifications, try to think of more of features that are specifically to that game, or that you're not going to write about them in general. Update your players about new game titles. So if you just launched a new game title and you have 4 games already out there, whether it's casual, whether it's Facebook, it doesn't matter, let everyone know that we just came out with another game. These players already bought your game, they're playing your game, so they should know you have a new game out. Don't expect them to find it by themselves. Tell them about your blog or website. So, it's very good to start creating an online presence. If you're an indie game developer, having an online presence is very important. Not just from the development aspect, but the aspect of players that are buying your game. Create promotion, raffles, and challenges. One of the things that I seen recently was that someone used a news feed, basically told he did once a week a challenge, and based on the challenge, the top winner got some swag, got some prizes. And this was an indie game developer. It was Terry Pan from Australia, indie game developer, not a big company. He went and did that for a couple of weeks, and he went and bought some Moo cards and sent them off some stickers. Great idea. Great reward for the players. They played his game for a couple weeks, and basically what he did was he was able to drive his game, the retention of his game, just by a couple weeks to hit a certain point where he got extra money from monetizing it. Maybe you can basically do your own ads, sell your own ad space with in-game notifications or cross promotions, and I'll talk about cross promotions a little bit here. Think beyond the expected. Don't spam. Don't send every 2 weeks a message. Provide relevant content. Make the message fit within your game. Use your game's design and make it unique. So make sure it fits with your game design. All right, so here are some examples. So the first example is basically the Jetpack game. This is really great. So the Jetpack game, they have a little news tab on the side. You click on it, and this is what it says. It says, check out the awesome new bomb-tossing action game, Monster Island, from our friends at Miniclip. So Miniclip is another, totally different company. And they basically said, we'll tell everyone about your game, and you tell everyone about our game. More than likely, a developer will pay for both games, or a player will pay for both games. He'll buy one game, play it, and then go buy the next game. So it's not like you're not competing with each other. You're basically creating more market revenue, market shares. And you can probably do this right now. Find a developer that has 2 or 3 games out there, and then you have 2 or 3 games out there, and tell them, I'll add this to my game, and you add my game to your game, and we'll see what happens. And I guarantee you that both of your games will sell a little extra, a little more. This is, again, Terry Pan, indie game developer. He has over 100 games. So this is a good example. Terry Pan, I don't know if anyone heard him, but he's a Flash developer, Flash indie game developer. He does just games. He has over 100 and something games. A lot of them are mochi, and he's just a one-man person. Some of these companies here have 300 or 400 games in teams of 3,000, or 80, I think the numbers are. Again, so he does in-game notifications, and they fit with his design. His welcome commander, or over here on the left. All right, so that's pretty much it for in-game notifications. I don't know how much time. All right. So player saves. Really come into perspective when you have cross-platform games. So if you have one game on the web or on the PC, then player saves aren't necessarily that important, other than the point that when a player moves around, he can log in and get all his game data. Player saves are specific features you should consider if your game is cross-platform or web-based. Consider the following. So here's a perfect example. If you play Angry Birds on your mobile phone, and then you play on your tablet, and then at work, you play in your browser. So I'm playing Angry Birds everywhere. That's the point, right? Unfortunately, you will lose your data. So you'll have different scores or levels across platforms. So if I'm playing it on my mobile, and then I play it on, and then I go to my, I play it on my mobile while I'm traveling, and then I come back home and then I open up my iPad and I play it. Well, I'm starting all over again. So users are expected to buy your game. They're expected to pay extra for that, tablet version, but they have to start all over. The reality is that you should let them, log in, create saves, and let them start where they left off. So Facebook games have this pretty much built in. Zynga has it built in. So if you play Facebook here, and then you go back home and you play your game, like Ages of Empires, all your data is saved. You didn't lose anything. So all the Facebook games pretty much have this kind of built in. This is one of those, like the hosting costs get higher with Facebook games. This is why. All right. So geolocation. So geolocation is new. It's not seen that often, and you can do so much with geolocation. Geolocation is probably one of the best things to add value right now to your game. So we're not talking about like location-based games like Wazi or other games that are basically new in the market and they're location-based. We're talking about location inside your leaderboards, letting your players know what's going on. So what can you do with this? You can show players or scores based on location. You can show your players people in their area and then compare. Show stats, heat maps, graphs, and you can let players challenge other players based on location. So here again, some examples of maps and different things you can do with just having geolocation accessible. And the thing is, geolocation is accessible now everywhere. So it's not like, okay, I can't do it for browsers. Chrome has geolocation built in. I think Safari does too. So you can always check, and if they have it built in, show them. If they don't have it, not show them. All right, so cross-platform and content awareness. At the end of the day, having your game on more than one platform provides more value. It's just more revenue. If you do an iPhone game and then you put it on Android, no matter what, even if you only sell 100 copies on Android, it's still you sold 100 copies. It's just extra money. More revenue and better exposure. Think of ways that to use to benefit your gameplay. So you can start doing a lot of things if you have different versions of your game. If you have your game on Facebook, if you have your game on iOS, on the iPad, and then you have it on the iPhone, you can start creating different levels or creating unique experiences based on what version. So the gameplay is going to be the same across all the games. It's going to be the same gameplay. It's going to look the same. It's the same game. But if you play on the iPad, you get an extra level. And what that does automatically is gets the person to want to buy the iPad version. So you just sold another copy. Or if you play it on Facebook, you get these following features. Or you get these following achievements that you didn't have before. Again, think of ways to create unique leaderboards and achievements based on the platform. And the last slide here, probably hopefully on time, is game monetization inside your leaderboards. So you monetize your games. There's 100 ways to monetize your games. Leaderboards is the perfect place to do ads and certain monetizations. One, it's not intrusive to the player. You know, when I play Android games, all the Android games are free. Ads inside the game, that's annoying. Like I can't stand that. So when they move over to basically the leaderboards, well, they're done playing the game. They're scrolling through the leaderboards. They're looking at what's going on, and it's a good place to put an ad. More likely, if you put the ad in the leaderboards, they'll click on it. If you put the ad inside the game while the gameplay, don't expect them to click on it. It doesn't interfere with your game. Consider selling your own ad space again. One thing with monetizing your game that I would suggest looking into, which hasn't been done yet at all, it's not very popular, is start monetizing your game based on players and not click rate. So if your game has 10,000 players, this is what I want to sell. I don't want to sell per click. I want to sell per exposure. Peel away your interactive ads, so you can do a lot with if you're doing games in Flash, you can do a lot of really unique ads. That's pretty much it. If you want to read some more, there's a number of blog posts about Score and the platform and how it helps you do all these things on leaderboards. Flash and Flex magazine has a post on it. Casual Connect, we did a blog post on it. One of the game developers using the platform did it. We have Active Touch is doing a spread for like a month now, next month, talking about how you can get started with it in different platforms. That's pretty much it. Questions?
Okay, well, thank you. We have time for one quick question while Dennis sets up. Is there any questions anybody has? Okay, one question back.
So you've been talking about games where you should absolutely use achievements, use the different scoring systems, etc. Are there any exceptions to this rule? Like, are there any games where you absolutely shouldn't use leaderboards, achievements, and stuff like that?
Right. So he was saying, is there any games we shouldn't have any leaderboards? So then, at the end of the day, this whole session is based on type of your game. So when you're developing your game concept, you need to decide, does it need a leaderboard? Is it required? So there are games that don't need leaderboards. I mean, the Facebook games, they're already socially in nature. But if you look at Zynga, Empires and Allies, they just started adding leaderboards, and they just started adding leaderboards across all their games. So Zynga right now is doing a perfect example. They never had any leaderboards before, and now they're adding leaderboards to all their games, and they're showing stats across all their games. But at the end of the day, as a game developer or a designer or studio, you have to decide what's correct and what's not correct. And there are instances where there's no need to have leaderboards.